using the iPhone 14 Pro for this past couple months, and by the time this video comes out, I think I've been using it for around 3 months. However, since I've been using this as my main device for a long enough time, I do have my final thoughts about this device, and I think this video will help you guys to make your purchase decision about this phone. One thing you must be aware of when it comes to big software and hardware update is of course the bugs. If you're buying a tech product with a big iteration of any company such as Apple, Sony, LG, or Samsung, you have to be aware of small issues that might gonna happen. And even this 14 Pro and iOS 16 came up for the first time, there were a lot of issues reported. I have a list of issues and bugs that occur on this model on my iPad, so let me read it out loud. But for some people who bought 256GB or above model, there was an incident where iOS 16 was using up to 100GB on system storage. I know that's weird. Also, there was a severe camera shake issue when people were using social media such as IG and Snapchat, sudden disconnection to Wi-Fi, and in my case, I have multiple times this phone just shuts off suddenly, and I have to force reboot it to use my phone again, which is super weird and never happened to me, especially on iPhone. However, I'll say don't worry about it too much because Apple is aware of these issues and they are fixing via software update step by step. And even these issues are happening to a small amount of people, especially with the crazy one like severe camera shake and using 100GB of storage out of nowhere. So just be aware of that. But in general, you don't really have to worry about it. Shooting photos and videos on this phone is absolutely amazing, especially the 48 megapixel wide camera has added 2x zoom, which is pretty useful. And especially when you shoot photos in ProRAW, you can see the massive improvements on this year's camera. It's honestly too good for a smartphone. However, these ProRAW can take up to 100 megabytes of storage easily. So if you're just a casual shooter, I highly recommend not shooting on ProRAW or change the setting of the resolution down to 12 megapixel. After many months later, now we can finally manually control the macro mode on the camera. So let me show you the example real quick. So previously on the 13 Pro, if you want to shoot something close up with the wide lens, which has faster aperture and better low light capability, if you go close up to some object, iPhone will automatically switch to the ultra wide lens because it is capable of macro mode. However, compared to the wide lens, the ultra wide is not good at low light situation, nor has faster aperture. So now, since we can turn it off the macro mode, which you can do on the setting, I will just show it right here. You can turn off and now you can shoot close up with your wide lens, which has faster aperture, which will create more bokeh in the background. So that's a huge plus. I still love the consistency throughout all three lenses, both photos and videos. And when it comes to the video quality and features, iPhone is like the holy Greek god of any smartphone. The video is just so good on this phone and I have no complaints at all. Even the cinematic mode, now you can shoot on 4K. One thing you have to be aware in terms of camera on the 14 Pro is that the default color profile is a bit more contrasty and looking like Sony camera on the 14 Pro compared to the 13 Pro. This is not a good thing nor a bad thing, it's more about your personal preference. Some people like the warm color profile of 13 Pro, but some people prefer the pixel-like contrasty photos on smartphone. I do personally like rich contrasty photo because I can edit a bit more on the later process. I mean, if you really hate the way that 14 Pro look, you can always shoot on ProRAW and just edit yourself. But I don't know, I can't really talk about this point. I kind of like the 14 Pro looks anyways, but you can always edit your photos, so don't blame me or Apple. It's your personal preference. The selfie camera got massive improvements by having the faster aperture of f1.9 and autofocus, which is crazy, and it looks super good. It looks like a main camera and I have no issues shooting with the selfie camera. And if you're a TikToker, I think this camera will help you guys a lot. If you guys liking this video right now, please hit the like button and subscribe button because YouTube Senpai will bless me with the algorithm and I'll be very happy. This beautiful OLED 120Hz display is absolutely amazing. And the craziest thing about it is that the maximum brightness goes up to 2000 nits, which is completely visible under the sunlight. And you can see the clear difference compared to the previous models. It's that visible. Although you have to be aware of keeping your brightness at the maximum all day long because it can drain your battery life and the phone itself gets pretty hot. So don't have it all the way up all day long, the battery will drain, but occasional maximum brightness will be very helpful. I will love to continue this video, but I don't really got no time. I have to go to my friend's place in a bit, so I will continue this video at my friend's place.
Hey, don't film this car.
What a beautiful, cloudy, rainy day. I personally turn off the always on display because it does use around 5 to 7% of battery life. But not only that, if I kept the AOD, it looks like the phone kept having notifications, and then when I put it on my desk, I just kept looking at the phone, and it just kind of frustrates me. So I personally turn it off, but if you guys like to use it, AOD, just go ahead. But I wish that AOD on this phone only shows the clock or maybe, you know, certain notifications, but not the whole entire screen. It's just annoying. However, the day-to-day usage of battery life is not bad at all. I can consistently hit 7 to 9 hours of screen on time, and it's not drastically better than the previous 13 Pro. The performance is absolute fire. The A16 Bionic chip is fantastic. I had no issue playing Genshin Impact or Call of Duty on the highest setting, and I was okay. My phone didn't even get hot, so that's a plus. However, in my everyday usage, it feels exactly the same compared to the 13 Pro or even the 12s. So, like, the performance has been great with iPhone, so you don't have to worry anything about it. The A16 Bionic chip was more for like having 4K on cinematic mode or just, you know, having more of an AI stuff. So in your day-to-day performance, you just don't have to worry about anything. All right, so I do have a special guest today. Introduce yourself.
My name is Gaku. I also shoot photos and videos with Peace sometimes.
He does use iPhone 14 Pro as well. Same color. What storage did you get?
128.
128, me as
cheap.
well. Hey, man. I wanted to ask Gaku, did he had any issue with the 14 Pro? Do you have any issues?
The only issue I have is when I go to upload stories natively onto the Instagram app, I'll take the video on my phone first and then go on the stories, swipe up and select the video. It'll bug out for me. It'll be, I feel like it's too big of it's too high quality of a file size where it doesn't properly like load or sync. So when I go to put it on stories, it just takes a while for it to render out and load, which is kind of annoying.
This never happened on any other iPhones?
I mean, I've only had the i11 before this. Don't hate me, but I never had any issues with that. But I mean, the video qualities themselves are so amazing, and I'm really happy I got it. But just that issue with Instagram, it might be an Instagram bug, but that for me has been an issue.
And also, Gaku does photos and videos professionally. What do you think about the camera of the 14 Pro?
Especially for like B-roll, I think even for like as like a B cam when you're shooting certain videos especially for social media, which is what I do. I think it's a great camera. It's really strong, really high quality. I like the 4K, obviously. I haven't even touched the Pro Raw, to be honest. I've just been shooting it on regular JPEG. On the 11 or even older iPhones, on the 0.5, the photo video mode, if you're in too low light, it gets really grainy.
Yeah.
But the 14 Pro is crazy. I'll be able to go to 0.5 in dark situations and it's still super clear.
Like always on display. How do you think about it?
Well, I didn't realize that was a thing until I watched your video, and then I also bought one, and I realized I put it in my pocket, brought it back out, and it was still on. I was like,
yeah, that confuses you for a person. Yeah.
So I went into to settings, turned it off, but I don't need that. Like I don't need it to be on when I'll just swipe up, open it up.
That is true. Yeah, I didn't see any like need for always on display. Yeah, of course, 0.5 second of tapping your phone will save you a bunch of time in a day. Like, come on.
It's not worth the 20% of battery.
It's not worth it. One of the most asked questions is, of course, is it worth it to buy this 14 Pro? And my answer is, it's pretty worth it for someone, but not for everyone. One of the reasons why is, of course, the Lightning port. The Lightning port is a weird one. It's still USB 2.0 and Apple never has improved it or changed it. But this can change in the future. Since the European Union only allowed tech brands to create new products in USB-C ports, which leads Apple to not use Lightning cable in their future products after 2024. So in that case, there'll be two choices left for Apple. One is change the port of the iPhone to USB-C, and two is to get rid of all of the ports. If we're getting USB-C on an iPhone, that will be super cool, and especially if we're getting the Pro model, and if, you know, Apple includes it like Thunderbolt or like even just USB 3.0, I'll be super happy. I can use it with all my accessories using USB-C. But if Apple is getting rid of the port completely, why the f would you buy iPhone 16 Pro? I mean, think about it. AirDrop. AirDrop is awesome technology. We all love AirDrop, but AirDrop's transferring speed is absolute You cannot transfer large file, especially ProRes videos. And heck, even if you're trying to upload like multiple files via AirDrop to your, let's say, MacBook, it fails multiple times. And it frustrates me so much. And even like, you know, charging MagSafe 15 watt. I mean, 15 watt is fast enough and it's nice, but the MagSafe always gets hot. The technology of being completely portless and wireless, it's not still there. And the last thing you have to consider if you're buying the iPhone 14 Pro is the form factor. The Dynamic Island is just awesome. I love Dynamic Island. It does support music app, Audible, car navigations, timer, etc. And I've been loving the animation, and I had no issues or bug when it comes to Dynamic Island. It's just such a complete design and feature. So every 4 to 5 years, Apple changed the form factor drastically. From home button to the notch, and now we have Dynamic Island, and the latest iOS 16 does support to iPhone 8, which is completely fine, and that's 5 years ago, 2017. Yes, I'm getting pretty old, but if you've been using your iPhone for around 3 to 4 years, if you're using iPhone 10, 11, 8 or older, and if you're looking for a brand new flagship to use it for next 3 to 5 years, which you should do. So if you're thinking to buy a brand new flagship and use it for next 5 years, I think you should go with the 14 Pro, because the normal 14 did not change the form factor. It does have the A16 Bionic chip, but to be honest, I think the animation of Dynamic Island will wow you way more than brand new chip. So I highly recommend buying the 14 Pro if you haven't bought iPhone for a couple of years. For the people who have iPhone 12 or above, you don't have to buy the 14 Pro. Maybe next year, because the next year's iPhone will still have lightning cable and will probably have the same exact design, maybe an improvement in the camera, just like every year. Let's just wait for the complete version of this form factor right now that we have. That's my conclusion. If you have iPhone 11 or older, buy this one. If you have iPhone 12 or above, don't buy this phone.
Anyway guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like this video, please hit the like button, and if you guys like my video style, please hit the subscribe button. I'll leave 2 of my favorite videos right here, and my most recent video right here, and my channel right here. I hope you guys have a great, awesome day. My name is Peace Gates, and you guys already know. Peace out, guys.